Okay, so I want to talk about how some people might need to start their own channels if they want to get, certain things said. Okay, so for instance, right, and this is not me, going off of anybody in particular. So, I don't want, anybody getting roasted and stuff like that. But there was a lengthy comment about it was under my video about how black women are treacherous and their bloodlines are ending. I know some people, because even if I'm not talking about them in particular, it's still taken personally as if I'm talking about them. And so the person was like, she said she agrees with most of what I said, but she said nobody talks about, how hard it is to raise girls from childhood to adulthood. But you see, I don't provide content on how to raise children. I don't provide content on how to raise a child, like the stages of development from childhood, from toddler to childhood to adolescent to adulthood. See, those are stages that children go through, but because these are black girls, you're going to have to find somebody who really understands, especially if you're going to raise them in a black neighborhood. Then I would say this. See, because I did comment to that person and say, this is not the channel to talk about development of a childhood to a teenager into adulthood. I don't discuss that because that's not my expertise. So I'm going to say what I talk about, because this person doesn't watch a lot of my audios, so they don't really understand that I'm not a person to just. I stay in my lane. I talk a lot about little girls getting molested. I talk about these girls going missing. Those are near and dear to my heart. Talking about how somebody is raised and the difficulties of raising children, it's just not my lane. But to say nobody's talking about it, I really feel like that's an untrue statement. I feel like energy flows where attention goes. And in my opinion, if you really want to find people who provide that kind of content, you're going to eventually find it. It's just the problem is people like that don't have big channels. So you might have to search a little harder to find people with those type of channels, because those folks don't have people checking them out like that. Just like my channel won't grow fast. But to be honest with you, I don't want my channel to get hundreds, thousands of subscribers, because I don't want to deal with trolls like that. I feel like whatever paycheck I'm going to get from YouTube, if I get like even tens of thousands of subscribers, it's not enough. Whatever I would get from YouTube would not be enough to deal with the trolls and the harassment and the doxing and all that mess you got to deal with people. Whatever check I would get would not be enough to deal with that stress. And that's why I'm not interested in saying different things to grow this channel to thousands, to tens of thousands, and even to hundreds. I don't want to deal. I don't deal with people like that. It's hard enough for me to go to my job every day. I don't like to deal with people. But anyway, that's like off what I'm saying now. So that person that left that comment to say nobody talks about how hard it is to raise girls, I guess I don't think she felt like I was talking about her, because I let her know that this particular content was about little girls going missing. It was about little black girls between the ages 3 and 5 seem to go missing, and I'm seeing the same pattern. And then these girls are found dead, and it just really has nothing to do with the stages of development. These girls, I said from what my intuition, these girls, it seemed like these parents are getting paid off for these girls, okay? And I spoke about human trafficking is a big money maker. So when I talk about things like that, it doesn't have anything to do with the stresses of raising a black girl through childhood to adolescence to adulthood. My content doesn't talk about that. I don't have that kind of expertise, and to be honest with you, I'm not going to try to make that content into my channel, because I feel like that's somebody else's lane. I feel like for me to talk about that, I would have to go to other people's channels, read other people's books, and then bring it on my channel to talk about it. And I don't like to do things like that. I think that's their lane, and if you would like to hear this kind of content, you should go to their channels where people are already talking about it. I see YouTubers do this all the time, but it's because they're competitive and they want to grow their channel. I'm not trying to grow my channel like that, but I have seen YouTubers do this. They don't know the things that they come on their channel and talk about. They don't really always have the knowledge. They go and research. They go to other people's channels, and then they come back to their channel like they have so much knowledge. And I've seen, and then they talk to the audience, like they talk to the people who's listening. Like, yeah, you guys didn't know that. Well, you didn't either until you went to somebody else's channel and brought it back on your channel like you always knew it. So some people are competitive like that. I don't do that. If I find something interesting in somebody's channel, I'm going to come back and I'm going to say who it is that I got that I found, and I might decide to state my opinion on what they said. But other than that, no, I'm not going. If that's not my lane, I'm not going to go to somebody's channel. I'm not going to read somebody's books to try to find some kind of topic to talk about if that's just not something that I know much about. Okay. I wanted to talk about, though, specifically raising black girls in black neighborhoods is going to be different than raising any other girls. I do know that, just being a woman myself who grew up from a girl. I don't know what kind of neighborhoods, what kind of these public schools and all this. I don't see that. That's why these people need to make their own channels. Because it's a difference between raising a black girl in a black neighborhood, having her go to public schools, and raising a black girl and having her go to private school. You might have, but she's still going to have a stage of development. Same thing with a white girl too. Some of these white mothers have troubles with their white daughters. But a black girl is going to be different. The reason why black girls are going to be different because black women, I don't care how well individually they can do in society. They can travel the world. You can be like a Naomi Campbell. It doesn't matter. Black women are just seen as the lowest on the totem pole. I'm just talking about as the status. Okay, I'm not really talking about individual ones who do well in life, like a Beyonce and stuff like that. No, I'm talking about just, and I understand they coming up, you know, you have 4 people who won crowns, and so yeah, but I'm just saying they still seen as the bottom. So it's going to be harder with the black girl. She's seen as the bottom. But I still, and that's going to be difficult. And I'm going to be honest with you. If I had a black girl, I wouldn't want her around black people. I'm just going to be honest. Black people to me are toxic. So I will say that. Black people to me are toxic. If I had a black girl, knowing goodness well, the biggest abusers of black girls are black people. I would not want her around black people. I just wouldn't. Now, if you're the kind of person, like I said, this commenter, I don't know the story, but I really feel like this commenter, because I feel like if she's willing to get her voice heard, she needs to just start recording and have a black screen like me, like Egypt Ann has, like other people have. They have these little black screens. Just push record and start talking. If you want to get what you have to say out there, because people like me shouldn't have to talk about it. What do I know about raising a girl? I don't. I know something about molestation. I could talk about that. These girls who went missing, these girls that these parents in these Masonic organizations or other relatives, and they sign either their children or other relatives over as blood sacrifices. I know something about that. I talk about that. I talk about what I know about. Most of what I talk about on this channel comes from the top of my head, and if it's coming from somebody else, I will call their name out. But most of what I talk about is from the top of my head. So if you don't hear me talking about how hard it is to raise a child, it's because it's not something I know much about. I don't raise children. I will say being a woman who fits the image or looks like that black girl, I can tell you that the best place to get her is away from black people. I can say that. I can't. That's just my opinion, though. Black people are the most abusive to black girls and black women. That's my opinion. And if you're raising her, I don't care what you teach her. This is just from me. This is my experience from me growing up. I can't tell you how it is to give birth to a child and raise them and change that stuff. I don't change their diapers and go through their stages. That is something, like I said, you need to look at somebody who has that experience. You know, you gotta look at somebody else. What's that lady with those 10, 11 children, something like that. Even though she got a lot of children, she probably can tell you something about raising a girl. I know people can criticize her about having these 11 children, but she can tell you a whole lot about what it's like to raise a girl and a boy because she got 11 of them. Okay? But not me. I can tell you my experience, and I can tell you what other people's experiences are. But I can't talk about how hard it is to raise because that's not my experience. So why would I talk about that? You know, I talk about molestation. These girls, now, like I said, I think some people take it personally. I think some mothers who have black daughters take some of this content personally as I'm attacking them individually, and that's something that's going to be between on you or whoever takes it personally. Okay, because like if I make content about little girls getting molested at 3 years old and 5 years old, and their mothers didn't do nothing, and they let the guy get away with it, like a 20-something-year-old guy get away, and then they call a 3-year-old daughter, want to call her fast when she's only 3 years old, she's barely even speaking. Well, that's not even about you. That has nothing to do with you raising your daughter. That has, if you're not the person who sits there and let your little girl get molested by grown men, if that's not you, this you shouldn't take that personally. And I can't do anything about that because I'm going to talk about stuff that's near and dear to my heart, and I can't do anything about people who want to keep taking things personally. When I talk about little girls at 3 and 5 years old who get molested, and they mothers want to sit there instead of getting on the man that's molesting their child, they want to call her fast, and she ain't but 3 or 5 years old. If you take that personally, that's a problem. I think you might want to analyze that, because if you know you didn't do that to your daughter, it's no way you should take that personally. It's no way. And that's not something that me as a content creator should be concerned about. Okay, I'm going to have to talk about things that's near and dear to my heart, and I can't worry about who's going to get hurt, whose feelings are going to get hurt. I don't think her feelings got hurt. I'm just saying that I've seen this happen before. Even when I go to other people's channels, I've seen people who might be triggered by something that was said, and then they come with this whole story of their experience, and they kind of twist the person who was the content creator. Their words get twisted because somebody else was triggered, and the person who's triggered put all their problems and talk about their issues, and they kind of bring the content creator into their issues. Whatever problems you have, I can't make my problem because I have the different problems of my own. I struggle with the things I've talked about is what I have struggled with. Okay, my family have tried to take me out using a blood contract to take me out, you know, and they still trying. So I talk about that. That's why I talk about these little black girls going missing and they family taking money, because I know something about it from personal experience. It just didn't work. It didn't work with me like it worked with those little girls. Okay, so I know from personal experience. I don't have to look at nobody else's page because I already know. But that's all I gotta say is that, you know, some people might hear one thing and get triggered and leave like a dissertation, and I can't be pulled into those issues because I got my own. I can't be pulled into that, you know. So this is not me going off for anybody, but if you really, if that's something that's near and dear to your heart and you want to hear more of it, and you feel like you don't see people talking about it, then the best thing you need to do is hit record. Hit that YouTube camera thing and hit record and start talking. Because before I started recording audios, I used to feel like I want to hear more stuff too. But see, it's unfair for me to go to other people's channels trying to get them to talk about whatever I feel like I want to hear. Just hit record and start talking. So you can feel satisfied, and you don't have to go to other people's channels telling them what you don't hear and what people need to talk about more of. Okay, you know, that's what I'm, you know, because people are going to talk about what they want to talk about, you know. But that's all I got to say, and I will talk to you soon.